4, 5, 6. So make sure as you are pulling it up, you squeeze your back. 7, 8, 9. One more. And 10. So with this, you can do 3 to 4 reps. So that's 10 by 4. With this, so me, I'm just going to do 2 or 3 if I have time. Here we go. Second one.
More music on Trendy Beats.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, come on, 6, 7, 8, 9, one more, and 10. Okay. I think I'm tired. I can't even go beyond that. Guys, you've been with me, Harrison, aka the Fitness Puppy here at Jones Fitness. Remember, you can get your gym attire here. This is the place. Bye bye.
Quite interesting there. I hope you enjoyed that little stretch there with the Fitness Puppy. Anyway, just now, since we're trying to keep fit and healthy, let's see what the doctors have for us in the Doctor's Corner.
Hi, good morning and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakuya Namfaya. So this week we are talking about a very interesting topic, and that is cervical cancer. Yesterday we talked about what is cervical cancer, and we say that cervical cancer is the cancer that occurs or affects the cervix in females. Now today we'll talk about what causes cervical cancer. Cervical cancer is caused by a virus called human papilloma virus. Now this virus has got different subtypes. There are so many types of the human papilloma virus, and these types of subtypes of HPV, we call it HPV. So these subtypes can affect different or various organs in the body. So there are some types that affect the cervix, and usually these are human papilloma virus, or HPV 16, and also HPV 18 and HPV 45. There are also other subtypes that also affect the cervix. But this virus, when it affects the cervix, that is when you end up having cervical cancer. So usually a person who has cervical cancer would have certain risk factors that they might have that will predispose them to having cervical cancer or having or in contracting this HPV virus. People who are immunosuppressed, people who have are living with HIV, or people who have other conditions that are suppressing their immune system can easily get the virus from other people and also from injecting themselves with drugs as well. So if you are immunosuppressed or if you have HIV, then you are likely to have HPV or contract the HPV virus. Then people who have multiple sex partners or sexual partners are also likely to get this virus from their partners or from other people that they might be having these sexual intercourse with who are infected. And also if you've had a number of STDs, other STDs, then you're also increasing the risk of you getting the HPV virus and also contracting cervical cancer. Other risk factors include people who smoke tobacco. Tobacco is a risk factor for so many conditions. So if you smoke, you are at risk of having cervical cancer and also so many other types of cancers. So tobacco smoking is not good for your health and it will lead you to have cervical cancer if you increase your risk of having cervical cancer. Then the other thing is people who are exposed to radiation, and these include doing X-rays or being in places where there are radioactive chemicals. Being exposed to such chemicals can lead to you having cervical cancer. So these are some of the ways that one can have or contract cervical cancer or end up having cervical cancer by contracting the HPV virus. So the HPV virus is the one that is mostly responsible for people who end up having cervical cancer. So I do hope you have learned something today. Today we're talking about what causes cervical cancer, and we say that the HPV virus is the one that causes cervical cancer. And there are so many types of HPV virus, but most commonly HPV 16 and HPV 18 and 45 are the responsible viruses that cause cervical cancer. And we say that the risk factors include having multiple sexual partners and also having a compromised immune system, immunosuppression basically. So if you are immunosuppressed, you are at risk of contracting cervical cancer. And we also said smoking tobacco can lead you to, can increase your chances of getting cervical cancer. So these are some of the things that we have discussed today, and I do hope you have learned something today. Make sure you watch tomorrow again to learn more about what are the signs and symptoms. How can you know that you have cervical cancer? And if you missed yesterday's topic or even other episodes, make sure you also watch my YouTube channel, Dr. Nakuyana Siameka, on YouTube, and you'll be able to learn more about all these conditions that we talk about here on The Breakfast Show. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.
I hope you learned one or two things there on what the doctors was talking about with regard to cervical cancer. But right about now, we'll go direct into our money market and see how our currency is performing. So we have the great British pound there buying at 23 kwacha 82 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 29 ngwe. We have the United States dollar there buying at 19 kwacha 84 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 23 ngwe. We have the euro there buying at 21 kwacha 06 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 48 ngwe. We have the South African rand buying at 1 kwacha 09 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 12 ngwe. Wow. And the dollar already on the selling part is at 20 kwacha 43 ngwe. Going towards to
21, 22, 23, 24, 25. But anyway, do hope to see things stabilized.
I hope
really
it's
quickly.
not planning to go to 23.
Or 25.
23, the year 23.
Or 2023. It's also like a new year for the Kwacha.
Imagine. Ish. But anyway, we hope that, I'll be able to see some improvement. Yeah, by maybe coming June, somewhere September, we'll be able to see some massive change there and progress. Yeah.
Definitely. Just now take a look at some of the stories that made headlines yesterday. Now, we did see a story from Prudence Trota from Kamanga compound, where a grandmother is taking care of a young boy who's actually blind, deaf, and dumb. So you can imagine that situation, and the grandmother does not really have anything like any economic activity, and the family is appealing for help. Now you can get surprised, Miriam, that some people have told the grandmother saying, no, take the boy to an orphanage. But really, can you abandon someone else, boy who's deaf, dumb, and blind? I think that's not really like how family bonds should be. But let's take a look at that story by Prudence Trota.
A day starts by carrying a 8-year-old grandson who is deaf, blind, and dumb on a back as she goes into the community to seek piecework so that she can provide a meal for a disabled grandson and a 17-year-old son. Violet Chipesa, a 52-year-old woman of Lusaka's Kamanga compound, has explained that life has not been easy for her following the death of her daughter last year, who has now left her with the responsibility of taking care of her disabled grandson. She narrates that due to the condition of her grandson, who is unable to see, hear, and talk, she is forced to carry him on her back every day as she goes into the community to seek work because she has no one to leave him with.
So ananisira we mwana sakamba samvera sayangana so nisota munene mankalira naye sometimes toilet imamuvuta nimatoka kutia mungakata pupu nimatoyola munyumba muno so bosa nata expect nata anyway ni mwana wangu jo anamwalira niputikana naye mwana mwandi mwantu sagona usiku sayangana samvera so apa pana gonera kapena anagona mairo na manja kabe ogona so apa nkuchezera so chabi.
Miss Chipesa also says she has been informed by doctors that her grandson will never be able to see again and that she has been trying to take him to advanced health facilities to have his ears checked as well, but says resources have been a limiting factor.
Condition yake namba mu 2008 after 18 months 18 months then ubona yamba condition so kulena ngana nuza kwa nimpeka kuchani I think now naenda mu UTH naenda kwa clinic kuja natikapena zankala buno meso naenda konse so kulena ngana nuza kwa timkaenda kwa kubebikiwa kuja kama ndevu kapena kaenda kampime ko sometimes mumatu.
Miss Chipesa is currently renting this one-roomed house at 450 kwacha, but says her family has a farm in Kasisi where she is willing to relocate with her grandson if well-wishers, including the government, can come on board and help her erect a shelter at the farm, away from the family house which is already occupied by so many family members.
Kunyinyamura tina farm kuja kufarm kwa sisi kuja nenkalira Mani mangira chapa kwa room paneka chapa nukukala na mzimai but ni muna kina zinkalira nzisungira mwana tizamenga pempe ko chabi mwana kuliwa boma so hapa tajaira madezi anu so chabi.
And when asked if a grandson is registered on the social cash transfer program, Ms. Chipesa admitted that he is a beneficiary but says the resources are not enough to take care of his daily needs. She says some community members have advised her to take her grandson to an orphanage, but she feels a love for him surpasses all the challenges she undergoes, adding that doing so will render him more vulnerable as he cannot talk, hear and see, meaning it totally depends on someone to do any activities, including eating and answering the call of nature. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Quite a sad story there. We hope that relevant authority, just like maybe the Ministry of Community Development, can come on board and help the family. Indeed, there's need for the families to be helped. Quite a very, very sad situation. Like you said, Zipporah, before we went direct into playing that clip, that, there's no way that a woman can abandon her grandchild. There's no way. We need that family bond. And the child growing up knowing that, okay, I was abandoned by my grandmother, I was taken to an orphanage when, no, but I would, call upon, various stakeholders just to come on board and assist the grandmother in one way or another. We know that there are certain institutions that do that. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And then we do have another story where we saw the Seventh-day Adventist Church yesterday building a cholera shelter at Mutendere Clinic here in Lusaka. So they're saying this will be used to house suspected cholera cases. So now we've seen that the church has actually moved in to begin complementing government efforts. What is your thought on that?
That is very, very good, because this government, when they came into power, that was one thing that they called on the church, the church mother board, to come on board and, work in hand with government. They're not in competition with government in any way. The church should, and this is what various stakeholders and the general public at large have been calling on the church, to give, in as much as they are giving checks and balance to the government, but they also try to help government in one way or another. And this is a very, very good move that they indeed take. We shouldn't leave everything to the government. Yeah, anyway, let's get direct into playing that story, and we'll continue with our discussion.
Apart from offering spiritual needs, churches in Zambia have often been seen as a partner in development, as they often travel far and wide in search of souls and are therefore exposed to different challenges affecting communities. The Seventh-day Adventist Church, among others, has continued to pose a challenge to other churches with adequate resources to help in solving the country's social problems. SDM Tendere Mission District and the Adventist Men's Organization AMO took it upon themselves Sunday afternoon to begin constructing a shelter at Mutendere Health Center, which will be used to house suspected cholera cases. This is in the wake of cholera cases being recorded in various parts of the country. SDM Tendere Mission District leader Sister Rhoda Mzelengani was speaking to Camnet News.
We are community service workers. So we are here at Mutendere Health Center doing this project, and we have our many projects, that shelter. In fact, that shelter is the initiative of Mutendere Mission District, Doctors and AMO. They are the people who built that shelter. Now it needs some renovations, so that's why we are here.
The visit to the health center is also aimed at renovating a COVID-19 shelter which was put up by the church, but is now becoming dilapidated.
So what you have just seen here are the works of the doctors, workers and AMO here at Mutendere Clinic. What we are doing, we have been called to do some emergency planning and building of a shelter that is to cater for cholera patients. We know we are in cholera season, but the main project of this team here is the shelter which deals with COVID, where we have outward patients who are waiting to be dealt with in terms of testing and also administering of the COVID. So what we have just been doing today is actually laying the foundation for the cholera center, which we hope to end this coming Wednesday.
According to data from the Ministry of Health dated 4th March 2023, Zambia currently has 191 active cholera cases and 14 admissions in various parts of the country, namely Vubwi, Chipata, Mchelenge, and Lusangazi. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. These are students from Levi Mwanawasa Medical University in Lusaka who are demanding for the construction of hostels within the school premises to prevent them from walking late at night to their houses and boarding houses, as they sometimes stay late at school to study. The students have bemoaned the series of attacks that not only they have been facing, but also other students at other tertiary institutions, stating that the last few months have been full of such attacks, with the latest having been recorded on Saturday night at around 23 hours. This is in a case where a student identified as Oscar Masaiti, 25, a third-year student at the university, is alleged to have been murdered by thieves while on his way home from university, while passing through the University of Zambia on 25th February 2023.
We have our fellow student who was murdered at Unza, within the premises of Unza, which means we need the government to provide security to protect our students. We have lost Oscar, who was a third-year student, a finalist, a student who is supposed to be saving lives out there.
We think of the police to come on board. These security officers, these which we have, they are not enough, because actually students are stabbed, sometimes even things are stolen. During this year I've experienced student laptop actually being taken, because actually the security which we have, they are not armed. We request for armed security actually to take keen interest and to make sure to be in campus. We do not want them to harm the student, because our students can be moving with IDs. And anyone who is found without an ID or anything that can identify them to be levy students, actually, to be penalized. That will make sure, that will make the safety of students to be strong.
Looking at the situation, these are the major stakeholders that need to improve and develop our country. Now, if we keep on being killed day in and day out, where are we going as a nation? So, looking at our school, we only rely on the 1,500 spaces that we have in campus. And our school, we are having about 15,000 students, which simply means we are just talking about 95% of the students from Levi Mwanawasa, they are coming from outside.
Zambia Police Deputy Spokesperson Danny Mwale has spoken on the incident.
Following a report of murder in which Oscar Masaiti, aged 25, a third-year student at Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, was murdered by unknown people on February 25, 2023, around 23 hours, some University of Zambia students mobilized themselves and marched from Unza main campus to Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. The students marched peacefully on February 26, 2023, from 20 hours until 23 hours. They were peacefully escorted back to Unza by police officers and later addressed by the Commissioner of Police for Lusaka Province.
Apart from calling for police patrols, the students feel that constructing enough hostels will be enough to solve the problem permanently. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka. Welcome back. Just now transition to our next segment, which is student welfare in Zambia, and we've been joined by students from the Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. So do feel free to call us on the numbers that are scrolling on your screen, or leave us a message on Facebook to participate. Now, this comes after a student at the university was murdered about 2 weeks ago while he was passing through the University of Zambia around 23 hours. And so we're here today to discuss student welfare in Zambia, and we've been joined by Levi Mwanawasa Medical University Academic Secretary Mr. Brown Mbewe, as well as the Student Representative Council Vice Chairperson Mr. Joshua Chulu. Good morning and welcome to the studio.
Thank you. Good morning.
We are glad to have you on set this morning.
Thank you very much.
First of all, to begin with, we have seen, a lot of things happening with regard to your welfare students in Zambia, specifically jotting down to you, Levi Mwanawasa students. What are some of the challenges that you are currently facing and have been facing?
Okay, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity first. As the students of Levi Mwanawasa Medical University and all other students, we are facing almost similar challenges. One of the most common challenges is accommodation. As we can see, we as medical personnel, we need proper environment for lessons and proper environment for us to study from. I can assure you that we are having just few spaces in campus which are accommodating maybe almost about 2,000 students. And if you look at the population of Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, it's about estimated to about 13,000. And where these others are, we don't actually know, because we're having some which are accommodated in Tendere, some which are accommodated in PHI, which in these places we don't have proper security. And these students are in a lot of risk. Recently, last year we had a lot of students who, thieves attempted rape to female students, and actually bags have been grabbed from them. But now here is a matter which has just come recently. Last week we were burying our able-bodied friend. It has been so stressing. So the academic journey of students have been very affected because of actually one, the environment where they are staying. If you look in these, some of the boarding houses where the students are staying, actually sanitation is not according, and a lot of things are not in place. Security-wise, it's not also good. Students are now being accommodated in rooms, maybe a room, 5, 6 students are staying there. The reason is simple, is because accommodation has become also expensive in Zambia. And since it has become expensive, they are trying by all means to find a cheaper place where they can stay, a lot of them, and pay a few amount of money. So due to that, actually, we are thinking that the government should come in place and look at these issues before actually the waste happen. And we are having a lot of people called junks out there. This number of people also are increasing. Junks, if you go in Tendere, you find a lot of them. And actually it scares us because we need to study at night. And since we need to study at night, we need to find the right place. And the only right place where we can study from is our school. That's where we have library, we have Wi-Fi. It's not everyone who is coming from a rich background who can buy bundles and study from the room. And as I've said, for example, the scenario of a room where 5, 6 people are staying, but it's a single room. Where can you find a place to study? Because everyone has freedom. Some people are drinking, some are actually, okay, students have rights in such a room. So we are disturbing those students which are serious, serious need school. Now, if these students, instead of studying from the rooms, they decide to go to study areas such as school and library. The time for knocking off, actually, for example, the time for examination, we need actually to study intensive studies. Since we need intensive studies, some we can even knock off around 23 hours, 22 hours. And this time we need also proper security from the government. If we talk about Oscar, actually the time he was murdered and where he was murdered from, it was within the university. And it was estimated about 50 meters from the security post. What shows to us is that the security was also scared. If I look at the security of UNZA, they don't have proper weapons that they can use. So probably they hate that someone is being murdered. But because of trying also to protect themselves, they have to run. Those are assumptions which we are having, because looking at the distance where the security post was and where the student was murdered is very near. And actually, by the way, we don't have also, including in these same institutions, we don't have police. We only have our own security. It's just recent where Levy has actually employed a new security company, which at least is trying its best. But for now, we would want even the police actually to come on board. Yes, we have a post in UNZA, which we have seen, but that post actually is not having police officers which are armed. If when I made more research on those police officers, they are working hand in hand with the security. So what we want is, we have a number of police officers which have been employed in Zambia. Why can't we put about 50, if UNZA is having an estimate of about 50,000 students, we're talking about a number of youths are learning from there. And if their security is threatened, if someone is being murdered within the school premises, what are we going to do as students? Because as we move the entire night, we cannot be resting, because if we rest, we will fail. And as a medical personnel, I trust that I need to work hard, because I'm the one who is going to stand between the the death point of someone and the life point of someone. So if I do not study, it means that actually I'm affecting the nation at large. I'm affecting that same person who killed our friends, because even if they are killing us, we are the ones who are going to stand between their grave and their life instinct.
Now, coming to you, there have been arguments by various stakeholders that each and every time you're faced with a challenge as students, you resort into protesting. Is it a normal way of sending your message? Can't you do the other way? Those are the arguments that mostly come out.
Okay, on that one, thank you very much for that question. But in accordance with the movement that we take, especially as medical personnel, we believe and understand to say dialogue is the best way to resolve conflicts and also to submit our submissions. But away from that, you know, it becomes a problem, a big challenge for that matter, when you try to dialogue with them, then the solution is not provided. Okay, we understand to say they've got their own schedule, we are not the only ones they are looking. A country is a broad channel where there are a lot of sectors that needs to be looked into. But away from that, there are issues that needs to be addressed with the immediate effect, such as the ones that we are facing as students. Now, look at a situation whereby you have requested for that. Now it has taken more than the time is supposed to. Because as we are talking, Levi Mwanawasa, we've been inclined here and there to say we do not have accommodation, we do not have bursaries, and looking at the economic challenges that we are facing, we are not all coming from a well-to-do family. And if we talk about a public university, we are talking about a university which is able to accommodate both rich backgrounds, poor backgrounds, even the middle class. But here is a situation, our school is only accommodating less than 2,000. The rest, the majority, they are coming from outside. And these people, they are exposed to high prices from the boarding houses, which is going as far as 2,000 per bed space. A house in the normal range, which is supposed to make 70,000, today, as I'm talking to you, it is making 30,000, which simply means these residents, they are capitalizing on the situation. And if the government does not come on board to regulate the prices, we'll keep on suffering. Because if we talk of the development of this country, we are the major stakeholders that has to initiate that. But if we are not given that chance that we need to do it, to mentor ourselves, to acquire the knowledge that it takes to move this country forward, then we'll continue running in a dilapidated pandemonic state.
But the argument will be it's a free running economy where anyone can make their prices. Do you think it will be prudent for government to come on board and detect the prices that these house owners should give to students, given the fact that they also have to pay tax to ZRA?
Thank you very much for that one. I believe it should be a win-win situation. Much as they are increasing, they should also be the rate. Because as we talk of statistics, we know the rate at which our country is growing. If you talk of the growth of the economy, we know the rate. That's the reason why you find to say much of this talk of the demand for the food supply that we are receiving. If we see to say the prices, they are increasing, but we should also look at the aspect of the salaries of the people that are working. How much are they receiving? We are talking this from we are being factual here. Much of our parents, they are civil servants. They are not getting more than 70,000. And we are not the only ones they are looking at. We do have our homes back there. They are renting. They need food. They need to sponsor us. They need to give us meal allowance. But much as they are sacrificing on us, we should also, as the government, we should make it a fair ground for our people to do what? To develop. Because we cannot develop a situation whereby our parents, they are remaining with 500 kwacha back home because the prices, they are escalating day by day. Also, whoever wakes up today is going to say, no, my boarding house per bed space will be going at this price. Then we simply mean we are not helping in developing the country. Because one or the other way, the assurance of us when you complete today to start working, it is still slim. There are no employment out there. But despite that, away from that, we want the government to come on board and see how best they can change the atmosphere, and see how best, as we are looking forward to the changing of curriculum, see how best they can incorporate entrepreneurship, they can incorporate ethics and morals in us, because these are the things that we are shying away from, which has got a major role to play in developing our country. We are losing our culture, and that has got what? A major role to play, because a lot on social media, what we are preaching is prostitution. What we are preaching is just peer pressure. All we want is to be drinking, playing here and there. But we have not developed. We have not reached the peak. We simply mean there is still a major law that needs to be what? To be put on the ground, so that we realize what? A better Zambia. And getting back to the same welfare, we know that the well-being of students, our people, our majority, in accordance with the statistics that we are having, the majority of our country with the youths, between the range of what? 18 and 25. We simply mean this is the best foundation for us. If this foundation is not strongly built, we are going to have repercussions in the future. That's the reason why this is a strong voice to say, with the government, let's bring recreation, let's bring activities that will do what? That will support us, the youth, so that coming that time, as they say, mitikula empanga, we be acquainted with the knowledge, information that we need to do it to move our economy. Because tomorrow we want to be crying about these issues to say, no, we need this and this. We want to see a country where us, the youths, will be able to be consulted to say, these are the challenges that we are facing as a nation. How best can we resolve? We want to see patriotic youths taking part. Proactive measures should be taken into consideration, so that we become part and parcel of whatever activities that is taking place.
Now, maybe coming to you, Mr. Mbeo, have you seen any of the maybe cases involving students being concluded? Have any of the cases been concluded by police, be it murders, be it thefts? Has any of these cases been concluded?
Thank you very much. A lot of these cases, actually, I took one keen interest. There was a student who was actually being beaten by these murders. And once, actually, we took the issue to the police. And when we did that, actually, we thought like the police will work on it. But immediately we went silent, because we have handled the issue in the hand of the police. Actually, it went silent. So these also raise questions to us, because we are trying our best to make sure that actually we work hand in hand with the police to make sure that actually they bring these people to books. Actually, on that day, I even joined the patrol. I joined the patrol because actually I had interest. This student, their phones were logged, and actually was beaten. He was beaten when I was just passing. So I didn't know that this person is a student. I thought they are fighting just each other. But later on they said, this is your student. He's being beaten. That's when we turned back. And that night we patrolled, but the next day we didn't hear anything changed. And yet those people are, some people which are just within the society. We stay with them. And one of those ladies were, actually, they were selling things within our premises. But in the night, they are turning evil. So these people, I think they know us. They know our movement as students. And yet the police actually, even if they are trying to do their best, but their best is not what we expect them to do, which they are doing now. We would want them to improve on the security aspect. And my brothers here has elaborated what has led to this. I feel even some educated people are now turning to these people who are in scandals, because maybe they are using certain skills. Look at the issue of Oscar. They robbed their phone. And you know, there is Zicta, there are a lot of companies, security companies, which are available, which can track these phones down. Until now, we haven't heard anyone actually saying maybe we have progressed in this way, actually in the fight toward what has happened. But yet we're having mobile phone. A mobile phone was gotten from this person. Which also gives me a clue that actually there is a lot which is needed to be done. And so, coming to the security aspect, the technology which has come on ground, as we have said, the education system which is now happening in Zambia actually is not making us to be entrepreneurs. It is actually, the culture is just us now seeking for a white-collar job, which now the government sector is just employing few people. And a lot of people, what do you expect to become of them? Someone is, maybe was studying, maybe criminal and whatever, they were studying a different, they will turn into a certain business which you won't like as a country. Because the entrepreneur aspect has been forgotten. I'll give you an example. I made a research on Nigeria. Nigeria, either you're a medical personnel or you're doing whatever course, what they are doing is they have put in place actually business and even politics. So actually these are short courses which are being taken where someone is pursuing their dreamed course such as doctorate and so on. This actually you can see that people are not depending on the government for them to be employed. They are depending on themselves actually to work hard. That's what Zambia need to do. We appreciate that we are being given skills ahead of Teveta coming on board and helping the youths, but they are not doing their best. For example, you give someone skill, you haven't given this person what to do with the skill. They are going home and sleeping because they don't have the materials, they don't have the machinery. At the end of the day, we are training more people, they are becoming knowledgeable, and those people now are turning to be criminals on the ground. The more we are educating these people, we should learn how to balance this so that at least actually we reduce on the number. If you go in Tendere now, especially early 06, 7 hours, you find a lot of youths are drinking and actually smoking. There is an area which has a number of youths actually which are doing so. And we ask ourselves, are these all graduate, just grade 12s or those who have failed to reach grade 12? We appreciate the government that they have brought this issue of from grade 1 to grade 12 actually is free education. Yes, even though we are having this free education, let's mobilize on the ground. We need a way which actually we can tell these people to go back to school.
Now, when you talk about empowering a student, haven't you, your union, haven't you taken advantage of the Constituency Development Fund that in as much as you're going to school, you come up with a group and ensure that you tap in from the CDF and, you know, come up with a cooperative that can sustain you and empower you in one way or another, despite you going to school? Haven't you thought of that?
Yeah, we have thought of that, and that's why I've also taken steps as an academic minister, looking at the issues which are affecting students. We visited some of the offices, talking about the same issues of community development fund. And some of the students have been sent to those areas, actually, to be helped. For example, I'm having a student who lost all their parents, and actually the step-brother who was helping this student, actually also lost a job. We went to this organization and we went also to this same community development. What they told us is that your institution cannot be funded. The reason is you are not receiving bursaries. Apart from that, CDF is only for secondary school students. That's what a lot of these officers are responding to us. But what we expect, we want them actually to come in a way where they can help students which are really suffering from these districts which we are coming from, especially on the university level. We appreciate that we are playing a lot of law on the secondary level. But look at the university. This is where this person is about to deliver in the country. He's about to become an icon of change in the country, and yet they are being denied that chance of actually the proper education because they are saying, no, we are just promoting secondary school students. I don't feel that is the right way to go. We want these organizations to come on board and yes, we know that actually for now we don't have bursaries. It's a self-sponsored university. And if it's as it is a self-sponsored university, someone will be sponsored by a parent until maybe reaching third year. In third year, you lose the person who was actually sponsoring you. That's where now the government can come on board. We would want people to come, especially to our offices, and tell us that okay, if you have some students, because we have a lot, a lot of students who are suffering. They can come on board and we can even show them how many students are really struggling to pay school fees. We have a number of those students. So they are not doing their part. These monies, yes, they are there on board, and actually for you to access this CDF, it's really a process. What we are still thinking is the issue of connections, which are still working on the ground. Sure.
Now we do have a question from one of our viewers here on Facebook, who says, what is your take on the introduction of meal allowances to the Copper Belt University and UNZA, while other universities do not have bursaries? What is your take on that?
Thank you very much. I think for me, I think the government should think through this. I'll give you an example that we have given. This student, yes, is being helped, paying their school fees, and they have been given a place to sleep from. Then actually we add meal allowances. Okay? We appreciate that, yes, it's a good initiative, but this, I think, is politicized. That's what I can say. The simple thing that they would have done as a government, we still have a lot of universities, apart from Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, which are struggling with paying school fees. So what the government should have done is first consider the universities which are having problems of paying school fees. If they have tackled those problems, then now that's when they can introduce the meal allowance. Instead of now where we are having a lot of situations, a lot of students are failing to pay their school fees. For example, if we calculate, we don't know, the meal allowance is about 600. And if the meal allowance is 600, and we calculate maybe about 5,000 students are being given that meal allowance. Calculate the 5,000 times that. Actually, it's a money which can actually pay for few students which are really struggling in this university. They would have considered that before actually introducing the meal allowance. So we are encouraging, we don't know, we appreciate that actually they thought it wise that the meal allowances should be introduced, but they would have balanced. Now, since there is no balance, what we want to do is, what we want the government to do is, I think they have enough cover. So let them also come to our university and address our issues.
Very true. Very true.
Because actually, if they introduce a meal allowance, I think the money is enough. They know their plan, because it's a government which is thinking about the future. So since they are thinking about this future, actually we are waiting for our institutions also to have bursaries, because whatever they have introduced is a lot of money which is going to these already people. You know, I don't think a family can fail to produce something for a student to eat. Even if the economy is bad in Zambia, we appreciate the able government that actually the economy is a little bit okay, that someone can send a 200 for food for someone. Someone can send a certain amount of money to someone. But reintroducing of this, I feel like it's not balancing the equation to make sure that every student, every person gets the education, the quality education that we want Zambia to have.
Just to add your thought on that.
Yeah, I'll start with the CDF fund. Okay, we believe this is not the first time it has been introduced. It was even there back then. Now the question is, CDF fund has been taking place, and we the students, we have not seen, not just us the students, but at national at large, we have not seen the great impact being done to say, how is this being allocated? That should come to our understanding. You know, we are having so many graduates. We are having so many doctors who are graduating, so many medical practitioners, engineering. Why can't we get these people from different sectors and give them a proper company, so that when they start up something, they will be able to employ even others? As we are empowering, we should also look at the capacity of the people that we are investing. It's not just the matter of empowering any kind of person because it's CDF. Because if you look at CDF fund today, it is mainly allocated to the people that do not even have what it takes to drive the economy. That's the reason why, however much money, as we are talking, it's a lot of money. We are talking about 28 million, which has been allocated to this. But what impact are we seeing? If you talk of Mutendere, where we are coming from, Munali there, you're going to find to say the roads, they are pathetic, there are no drainage system, nothing is there. Now the question is, how is this money being what? Being used? It should come to our understanding. That's the reason why we are appealing to the stakeholders out there to say, if we are to develop, that change must start with us. We should be prominent, objective in our deliberations. That's the only way we can achieve what? A better Zambia. We'll continue spending and spending without achieving anything. If we all go into offices to prioritize our interest, then let's stop talking about development, because that will never be seen. If we are not willing to sacrifice, then we are not willing to become the great Zambia we want to see tomorrow. And coming back to the issue of meal allowance that has been awarded to our fellow students from other institutions, yes, it's a good move. But at the end of the day, as the government, you are our father. You need to consider us both. We all work. We had to wake up around 05 to cast our votes to ensure we see that change. We are not saying it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, but also even if we look at UNZA, we should also question ourselves to say, how many students have been awarded bursary? It is still a small number, madam. Okay. Go to CBU, it is still a small number. Come to us, it's even worse. Nothing has been yet what? Put into place. We are all children. It will be so unwise and unfair to say you only consider one person, you leave out the other. So we are appealing to the government, saying that you are a capable, reliable, dependable government that have got the capacity. We are asking you to extend your what? Your arm also to come on board to Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. It is the only medical university in Zambia as we are talking. And in southern what? Region. So I believe if those proactive measures are taken, you support us where machinery is concerned, where accommodation is concerned, and bursary. Even if you cannot manage 100%, even 50% across the board to those who are failing, it will be what? A major achievement for us. Because what we want to see this university that you created to be able to produce medical practitioners that will be able to compete at a global level. We want to have this as a medical university that will be able to produce doctors who will be able to provide the immediate solutions to the pandemics that we are facing. Unlike whosoever gets sick, we are now 50 plus since we got what? Independent. But whenever a president gets sick, you are going to find to say they are taken to Russia. But for how long are we going to be begging those people? That should come to understanding. For how long are we going to be moving to those taking their facilities, their equipments for us to be treated? I think it's high time we got to think of it to say, let's sacrifice the little that we have, we better our what? Medical facilities. Because if we do this, it will be one of the highest achievements as a nation. Because where health is concerned, it's everyone's business.
Quite interesting there. Just now we do take a short break, and do join us on the other side as we continue with our topic. Stay tuned.
Thank you for staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We are still looking at the welfare of students in Zambia, and we have been joined by another guest who is the Student Representative Council Chairperson, Mr. Mwape Chewe. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
We are glad to have you on set.
Thank you very much.
To begin with, we were earlier talking about, you know, the welfare of students in Zambia, and your colleague did mention about, you know, various issues, among them security, and of late we have seen that one of your students there was murdered. But have you, as a union, have you tried to sit down with management and see how best you can resolve security issues on the school?
That's a very good question to start with. Our management, the Vice Chair, Chancellor of Levi Mwanawasa Medical University is a very understanding man, and we have been trying to dialogue with her over this issue. It is not only this union as well as the previous union, because last year we had a similar situation of a female being stabbed just here by the lower abdominal area, where she was rushed to Levi Mwanawasa Medical Hospital and then later on to Mainasoko. So this is not a new incident that is happening. These things have been happening over and over, and that is what led to the response of changing the security company which was there. We are now using the G4, and then Old Campus as well. We have changed to a new security type of company.
But since you changed the type of security company that is offering a service to your institution, has there been any change, given the fact that we have seen that a student was killed recently?
Yes, there has been a minimal change in the fact that the security type system is limited to the school campuses. And meaning if you have to go out there, you're not protected, you're no longer protected, and that is where the problem comes in. That is where the need for accommodation is needed. Because just try to imagine, the example that I can give is if 10 people are not accommodated, then we accommodate these 5, meaning we're reducing the probability of people being attacked. So that is why, as Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, we need accommodation so that people and students can be protected from such attacks, because they'll be accommodated in campus where security is enhanced and security guards are able to maneuver around to ensure that security is provided to the students. That we are going to appreciate, because no record of someone being attacked has ever gone since I came at Levi Mwanawasa Medical University within the premises of the campus.
Last year, we did see you know, certain students being attacked from Levi Mwanawasa. Like you mentioned, a woman was stabbed and was rushed to the hospital. But then, have you tried to sit down with management and you know, resolve this issue of accommodation, and what has been the response, given the fact that you have been crying over this issue for quite some time?
The response is a long-term type of response, and at the moment what we need is something which is fast, because we need hostels urgently. We need these hostels, because if we keep waiting as students, meaning a lot of people are going to be attacked. The response that we are given is that accommodation is going to be built, and that is already in place. But what we need now is the process to be fastened up, because students are being attacked on a daily basis. And if we see this to be a long-term thing, meaning we're going to lose more students, due to the fact that if a student is being attacked in a boarding house, just imagine PHI system and junks have got the audacity to go in, break in and attack a student, grab their assets or electronic gadgets gone. And how much are our parents going to spend on that? Each and every time, because boarding fee, the minimum that you're going to find is 1,000 boarding house, that is in PHI. That is why most students are now being forced to go as far as Mutendere, Kalingalinga, all those far ends, because we can't manage such rentals to be paid.
Quite interesting there. Now, maybe coming to you, Mr. Mbewe, your colleague earlier there was talking about the issues of research. Maybe looking at you people as medical students, have you tried to come up with, for example, a cure to some of these viruses that we have?
Okay, thank you very much. We are having a lot of associations which are being made in the country. And these associations actually, one of their key work is actually on research. And soon we'll be launching an association within Levi Mwanawasa Medical University in collaboration with UNZA and CBIL. This association will be actually, will incorporate a lot of fields in the health sector, engineering and so on. What we want to do, we come up with this association and we are going to be based on much of research. Yes, actually, we haven't found the cure for these viruses and so on. The reason is simple. We still are having low machineries and low laboratories, which we also want improvement. I feel, for example, we have a lot of professors in Zambia. We have a lot of medical personnel. If we look at them, we haven't had any of them who have said no, apart from Sonda's formula. We don't have any of them who have come on board to say, no, we have found this cure. We want Africa to depend on ourselves. I remember I was just seeing one of the address of the president last week. He said soon pharmaceuticals should be produced in Zambia, which we appreciate and would want us as medical personnel to take keen interest in this. Actually, if you go to other countries away from Zambia, research is something that is very prominent. Actually, it's heavily funded. Now, because of lack of funding, actually, we are failing to have those research on board. If the government should also put more interest on research, actually, and fund research, I believe that will be better. So, due to lack of funding, we are having a lot of those problems. That's why in the research area, we cannot even go further. So we need inside funding and outside funding. If the same CDFs also can come on board to those who are doing research. Later I was away from, I was in northern province. I met this man was researching on TB. He has been struggling, I think, until now. He's saying, I'm still waiting for the funds from the government. So if we look at even our own, there is a lot of fights within the country on, even if someone has the research, it's very difficult actually for them to be promoted. I'll give you an example of one of the people who are making fuel using plastics. That was supposed to be heavily funded by the government because we're having a lot of litters on the ground. But for example, if that person who already has idea and machinery, which is already operating, is not being funded, what about us who rise now and say, okay, we have provided this research? Since the interest cannot be seen, actually people, so if an example should be given, someone who has already developed and actually has been funded, actually it will give more interest to people to start researching even more. If we look at the Sonda's formula, until now it's down.
It's hanging.
It's hanging. But yet we are having a lot of people struggling in this same area. What we want is actually, let the government first actually deal with these which are still there. And if we see that these have been funded, actually there will be more competition on the research area. Because look at this. That's why a lot of doctors, they still want to be in the government white collar job, because we have a lot of field. If we can go to the field of research, we have a lot of research. We have agriculture, such as NRDC. People can research on good crops which can favor Zambia instead of us importing crops from away from other countries, including medication. Actually, when we read a lot of, we see a lot of medicine they have been funded by America, they have been given from, but yet actually, I think they are using the same trees and same whatever which are available in the country. Why can't we just have enough research laboratories? And traditionally, Africa actually has been treating diseases, okay, on its own, using traditional medicine, and those people have been staying forever. Now we have brought these medications which are away from us. We are having a lot of conditions, which is also bringing a question mark. Maybe these medicines have a lot of side effects. And actually, we are killing ourselves as Africans. Because these people, it's not everyone which means well to us. Some of these fundings, I don't believe that they are okay with us. They may be killing us in one way or the other. Look at BPs and so on. We have hypertension and so on and so on. This disease, even young people now are having them. But in old days, they said these are for obesity, those who are obese and so on. But now, even if you are thin like me, there will be those at no genetic predisposition. But what we are looking at is much of foods that are being processed outside the country. You bring things from another country, bring here on the market, and we are eating. Medication we are taking from outside the country. We need more research within our country. Now, how are we going to do that? For example, some of us have been in secondary JETS activities. Secondary school students, they go to JETS activities and they are not even, if they are done, I think a lot of them, they are done at national level, and they won JETS activities, maybe they provided the best research. There's nothing that the government has done than giving them a mayor phone and maybe 2,000 kwacha. If we think that this person, for example, from JETS activities, this person is very interested in engineering activities, why can't we just take them and go to university and do the engineering and do the things in the engineering sector? But now the problem is, actually, we are ignoring the foundation. There is nothing that is linking the university to the secondary school, because we are having a lot of geniuses which are now sleeping. People who are in the universities, because their economic status is strong, that's why they are surviving. But look at, there is a genius that is actually in Tendere or Karingaringa in some places, but because of lack of funding, these people are failing. So I think if we can incorporate secondary education to the university level, we make sure that these students, these secondary students, they come on board and actually they are being helped. Then research actually from there will be more interesting. So we form organizations which we need also government to fund. But how are we going to receive funding if we see to it that those which are needed to be funded, they are not being funded? There are a lot of people who have come on board. If you go on social media, research about how many people are doing those things. Actually, a lot of people have good talents there. Others are making cars. But yet, because according to my research, one of the people who are working well in the airplane sector actually is someone from Eastern Province. And actually, that person was taken from Zambia. We have a lot of people who have gone out abroad and they are doing well, and they are actually producing more materials which are coming here in the country, which are also becoming expensive. Why can't we take our own people? Because if we provide a better environment for research and a better environment for actually this research, people will come back and actually will improve on research. Research is not being funded in Zambia.
Now, maybe coming to you, Mr. Chiwe, maybe due to the lack of adequate funding, do you think are going to produce quality graduates who are able to do the things that they were trained to do?
Actually, I don't think so, because you can't do what you've never seen. Like in the case where as medical personnel, it's very often that we get to see people who have never seen a microscope before. They don't know how to operate a microscope, a biomedical, I mean a stethoscope. They don't know how to work the stethoscope and how to listen to the heartbeat. Such is what is making us lag behind. And then venturing deep into our academic curriculum, it doesn't allow us to get acquainted to such things as those instruments that we are supposed to be using in the field. because once you get so acquainted with things that you're going to be using, it becomes so easy to use, and it becomes very very good. You become so good at it that you don't have to be told on how to do it. Because even when we go to hospitals, you find you barely know anything. You don't know how to give an injection in a basic language. You don't know how to take vitals. You don't know anything because you've not been taught. And as the largest medical university, what we need is funding, because there are so many medical fields and programs that are Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. Think of biomedical, radiography. There's so much machinery that needs to come at Levi Mwanawasa Medical University, because these are complex machines that we are talking about, and they are quite expensive. And people need to be acquainted to this. You don't need to go to the hospital for you to find it there. That's why it becomes very difficult. And when you go to the hospital, you find that you are a big number that wants to learn from that machine. So you won't have that time to learn. So, but if we are given maybe even cadavers, for those who are taking MBCHB, cadavers to operate on, if there are so many and different types of instruments that they use in hospitals, it will become easier. If the government can fund that, it will really mean well for students, because they'll be able, because psychology says, I hear, I understand. I see, I remember. So once you are able to see what you're doing and the machine, how to operate it, you eventually learn to operate it and remember everything that you've been taught, because it will be stored at the back of your brain, and you get a skill that can improve at a very good pace, because it is a machine that you are being acquainted with. So that is what we need, because we've got different programs and we've never seen the machinery, and we don't even know how we are supposed to work as medical personnel. So it becomes blank of us to go out there in the field. I don't even know. That's why if I'm studying public health, if I was given a district to manage, how am I supposed to manage? I don't even know the machinery to use, how to go on the scene. We are not really being taught on that, on what's supposed to happen. How to operate things is what's important, because when we go for attachments, students end up endangering patients because they don't know how to operate certain machines. And that shouldn't be the case. We have to be taught. The government has to invest so much in health. Even other universities like engineering, you can't graduate and you don't know how to operate certain engineering machines. Some of them are basic. You need to know how to drive certain machineries as an engineer. That is why we're having engineers who are graduating, yet they cannot construct a road. They don't know how to use any of that, any of the machines that they've been given. What our curriculum is teaching us, it's more based on theory rather than practical, unlike these other Western curriculums that are based on hands-on, because every field is a hands-on. All you need to know is a bit of theory, and then go out there. How do they do it? You ask yourself, and you are taught how to do it. Because once you are taught how to do it, now comes in critical thinking. How best can I improve this machine? How best can we work with increasing technology? How can we keep up with these other countries? That's why it all comes in. But if I can't operate a simple machine, how do you expect me to think big? How do you expect me to think higher? It becomes so limiting of us, because we can barely operate any machine. Even in secondary schools, these people are built up operating different types of machineries, unlike us. When I come to university, that's when I get to see different machineries. How do you expect me to acquaint myself with that? When you're supposed to know how to filtrate certain things, filtration, back titration, simple things are supposed to be in secondary primary, those things, that is where we are supposed to learn those things. But we are being taught here at medical university where you have, it's just a password. Let me just do what I've been taught to mix. I don't even understand the logic behind that.
Quite interesting. They're going forward. What would you like to see even as we conclude?
As we conclude, I would like to see government, not just limited to government, also private sectors. If you want Zambia to develop, we need private sectors as well, because it is not a one-man job. It is everyone's job to do. Because once we increase the number, they say one head is better than, 2 heads are better than 1. We'll be able to tackle different programs and different issues, because we have different fields in Zambia. We have different sectors, so we shouldn't be based on one point. That is why we need intersectorial type of leadership. We need people to tackle different things. So the government itself also has to embark on different projects, as well as look into the welfare of students. And then coming back to our university, I would want the government to look on accommodation, because accommodation has been a lacking issue and students need to study each and every day. Just imagine how we get back from class, 16 hours you need to rest. After resting, that's when you go and study, meaning you're going to study up all night. Just imagine now a person who's coming from a boarding house. So accommodation is really a serious issue on our part. I would like the government, private sector, if they can come on board and look at that issue.
Mr. Mbe, your concluding remarks?
Yes, okay, thank you very much. My concluding remarks are on the issue of accommodation. It's a very simple issue. How is it simple? We're having companies out there. We're having banks. Why can't they come on board? I know there is a company who can just actually build one hostel, a levy, and they are gone. They have gone. Actually, that will mean a lot. But yet the problem is we have much put attack on government than a lot of private and also actually self organizations which are available. If we look, if we can work together as a country to make sure that actually we have been hearing these cries either from all point of view, and we're even having some of our parents who are working in these same organizations and these same companies. Why can't they come on board? We give them land where we want to build our hostels, and they may be the standard. We don't care if they just put the foundation. It's okay. It will actually go a long way for the students of Levi Mwanawasa Medical University. Apart from that, we would want also research actually to be funded to make sure that actually students are in a safe environment, and also research is being undertaken that need proper machinery. Coming to the issue that affected us recently about Oscar's death, I would want, you know, why people are just murdering someone on just a cell phone, simple cell phone. I would want the government to teach first aid. I don't know, we are ready as medical students, together with the medical personnel, we can go on board actually to teach first aid. You know, we have been seeing a lot of these murder cases. Sometimes you go on the internet, someone is dying. What they are doing is just capturing a photo of someone who is dying. Yet that case would have been managed there then. We are losing a lot of lives just because of negligence. So if we can come on board and teach people what to do, they don't know what to do. They are just telling, no, he has been stabbed, and this person is dying. And if maybe we do just 2 maneuvers, actually this person can survive. So we need also first aid to be taught to the society. We also need sensitization to the importance of life, because me as a medical personnel, I know how vital the life of a person is and how complex a life of a person is. Taking the person with a knife is just something, you know, I don't know how people can take that thing lightly, because actually it takes a lot of things to be shut down, systems and so on. Actually, it's very painful that people are losing their lives in such a way. It's not only at the university level, but we also want in the country also to have that safety. If we have first aid training, actually people can know the vital of life and how to survive. A lot of time we have seen a lot of videos when you look at the video, you say, this person would have survived if they had taken A, B, C, D. So if people are aware of their environment from secondary school until university level, that will make sense. And if government comes on board and make sure that actually everything, they should start a process where everything should be made locally. And that will be will be one of the people who actually struggle to make sure that Zambia actually move forward. We'll be happy that maybe we'll be reaching 50 years, we are seeing that things have changed, because actually that's what we want. Africa needs to depend on itself than to depend on the Western world. Thank you very much.
Quite interesting there. So those were students from Levi Mwanawasa Medical University here to discuss with us various issues concerning student welfare, of course arising from the death of their colleague who lost his life unfortunately last week. But this is where we come to the end of our program today. Thank you for joining us here on set.
Thank you very much.
And please do remember to join Miriam Kaimba and I tomorrow as we take you further into other issues. For now, have a wonderful Monday.